So I've had a few people ask me how I created the simple template that I've used on various other projects here on YouTube, such as the JavaScript modal pop-up. So in this video I'm going to show you how I came up with the template and how you can create your own. So this is the simple template that I was talking about, and as you can see it is very simple. It's literally just a hero section, but we've basically got a background image which has actually got another colour overlaid on top of it, which you'll see shortly, and just basically a simple nav bar at the top here, and a bit of hero text, and also a button that you can click to do various things. So whilst it is really super simple, if you've never built anything like this before, you might be thinking, where do I start? And it's just obviously my take on how I would put this sort of hero styled image together. So I'll provide a link to the completed project in the description below, and if you want to follow along as well, either open up a brand new Codepen template, so codepen.io, or just follow along in your text editor. Okay, so let's get started. So here we are in a blank project, and we're going to build up that hero section, that hero template. So if you want to add it to your own project, or just for a bit of practice, this will be a useful exercise for you. So we'll start off by getting the structure of the page in place. So I'm going to add a section element, and you can use a plain div if you like, but I like to use a section just to be semantically correct. And we'll give that an ID of hero so we can target it with a bit of CSS in a little bit. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to put another div inside that, which is a class of container. And the reason I'm putting this in here is because I want to actually restrict the width of the contents that's inside it, like the nav bar and the main call to action in the center. But the actual background image I want to stretch across the whole of the page. And so by adding the container, I can allow the hero to contain the image and for that to stretch the page, but the container will actually contain our actual content. So let's put a nav bar element in there. And inside it, I'm going to add two things. First of all, I'm going to add in a heading level 1 tag. This could be an image or a logo or any other kind of textual element as well. I'm just using this for an example simply because I don't have a logo to put in at the moment. And the theme that I had before was a kind of food type website. The image I found for the background hero was kind of spices and things, so I just called the company Sugar and Spice. So this is kind of like the brand or where you would put the company's logo. And then inside that, I also had an unordered list, and inside the list was a few elements for our navigation. So things like home, about, and also let's say contact. And of course you can customize this to whatever it is that you're building this particular template for. You might also want to put link tags around these to actually link to different pages, but because we're just creating the one page, I'll just leave it as it is for the moment. Okay, so that's the structure for our nav bar done, and also inside the container though I actually want to put another element which is going to contain the call to action or the content. So I'll just create a new div called content inside here, and inside that I'll just put a couple of things. So the strapline that I had for the site was "We make good food." Obviously change this to something that is kind of more meaningful to your particular template. And I'll also put in the button inside there as well, and I'll just say learn more. And rather surprisingly, that's all of the HTML content that we need, but you can see the actual structure of the pages there. We've got our navigation and we've got our content that's including our call to action. So literally everything else now is going to be done with CSS, and there's nothing massively difficult inside the CSS, but we'll use a few tips and tricks just to make sure that the presentation is good. Okay, so we'll first of all start with the hero image and the hero element itself. So we can access that by CSS just by saying hashtag hero. And what I'm going to do is apply a background image. Now, the image can come from anywhere. I'm just going to go to somewhere like Pexels, for example, and grab an image just directly from there. You'll probably want to actually download one to your project, or depending on how you're storing this. But just as a quick and easy way of putting this template together, this will work for now. So let's just do a search for spice, for example. And yeah, that one was the first one that turned up. So let's just grab that. And I'm literally just going to access the link location here. As I say, you probably shouldn't really do this especially not for a production project or anything, but you can see that this just gives us a quick and easy way to access that element inside of Codepen. I'm going to tidy up the URL a little bit there. So first thing is, this image obviously isn't displaying as we want it to. So we might want to first of all set a height on this hero image. And I think the height I went for initially for the template was 600 pixels, and just to give it enough room for us to actually see that image. And the next thing we want to do with the image is just make sure that it fits inside of the container element itself. So we'll say background size is cover. Okay, so you can see that the image has been loaded in and is covering the div element itself. Only one problem, I guess you could say, is that we've got this margin and padding around the side of the image, but that's actually not coming from anything that we've added in. By default, your body tag within your page will actually inherit a little bit of padding. So we could remove that manually, but what I'm going to do here in Codepen is we've got the option to import some different libraries, and one of those is Normalize. And Normalize is basically a built package for you that kind of resets everything in the browser to normal styling. So what that means is, it will, first of all, for us, it will remove that padding around the body, but any other elements are kind of reset, so they should appear the same in any other browser as well. Okay, so when that's reloaded, you can see the padding's gone round from the sides, but there's still got some from the top, and that's actually being caused by a margin from this element here, which if we just inspect here, if I hover over this element in the developer tools, you can see there's some margin at the top, which is actually pushing that down. So we could just target that inside here, like so, and just set the margin to 0. But we're actually going to add some more styling onto our nav elements as well, so it shouldn't really cause us a problem moving forward. But I'll leave it there for now, just in case you wanted to put something right in the top corner of that page. So let's move on to styling that nav element, and we'll just target it here in CSS. And what I'm going to do is actually, the first thing is set the display property to flex to create this into a flex box. So you might actually see there that the unordered list has actually moved directly to the right of the H1 tag, and that's because we're now using a flex box inside that nav element. But what I'm going to do is just say justify the content to space between, and what that allows us to do is just to push the content to either side of the page. I'll also, while we're here, just make sure that the align items is set to center, and so I'll just make sure that they line up with each other on the page. I think what we'll also do whilst we're here as well, in the hero section, I'm just going to set the color of the text to white, so now we can actually see that standing out on the page a little bit more. Okay, so we're not quite done with the navbar yet. Obviously, we don't want the list actually appearing in a column. We want it appearing side by side as if it was a horizontal list. So the first thing I'm going to do is target inside the nav element the unordered list. And I'm actually first of all going to set that to a display of flex to start off with, and you'll see that lines it up horizontally. And the other thing I'm going to do is take out the dot from the list, the actual kind of the bullet point from the list. And you can do that with the list style type property and just set that to none, and you'll see those dots disappear now. And finally, I'm going to make a separate CSS selection here, and I'm just going to say for the unordered list, for every list item that's inside there, first of all, let's add some margin. So I don't want to worry too much about the top and the bottom, but I definitely want to push it out on the left and right. So I'm going to put a value of 1 relative m there. And the other thing I'm going to do is change the font weight to 700. So that's looking alright now, but let's actually change the font that we're using, just because the standard built-in font doesn't look that great, especially for this template. So I'm just going to head over onto Google Fonts. And we want a font that's fairly easy to read and just gives a bit of impact to our design. So we probably want a sans serif font, really. So let's just narrow down our search to that. And we've got a few choices here. We've got Roboto, Open Sans, Lato, and I think Lato is the one that I used in the original template, so let's go with that. And I'm just literally going to copy this from the page here in Google Fonts. And then back over in Codepen, if you go to the HTML settings, you can actually put stuff inside of the head tag here. So I'm just going to save that there. And being super lazy, I'm just going to grab the font family declaration here too. And I'll just add that inside of our hero section here. We might want to use a different font somewhere else. Okay, so with the navbar and the font loaded in, it's probably a time to look at the content section. So this is the paragraph text and the button that we created earlier on. So let's create some CSS rules for that. So let's sort out the positioning first of all. So we'll say text align is equal to center. Font size, we'll make that equal to 4 relative ems. The text itself, we'll probably just push that down just a little bit. So we'll say margin top is equal to 100 pixels, just to give it a bit more space above it. And so finally, I'll set the font weight to 800 to give it a bit more impact. And then also I'll set the text transform property to uppercase. Of course, that button's way too big now, and we want to add some additional styling to that too as well. So I'll target that by accessing the class of content and button after that. And let's just reduce the font size first of all. So we'll set that to 2 relative ems. That's a bit more like it. You can set the color of the button as well, just to white, so that's the color of the text itself. And we want to set the background color of the button as well to something different. So we'll just go over to Google, and if you just Google color picker, Google now kindly provides you with an RGB color picker. So we'll go with the blue color, and let's just say for a nice light blue, bit of a pastel color, we'll grab that hex value there. And you can see there's a border around the button as well. We want to kind of lose that, so let's just say border none. And finally, we'll add a bit of padding. We don't want too much padding on the top, so half a relative em's okay, and maybe 2 relative em's on the left and the right. You'll also notice with the button, by default, they don't actually get the pointer when you hover over it. So let's just change that by saying cursor is equal to the pointer. And you can see now that when you hover over the button, you're actually getting a hand. So it looks like you can actually click that button. So it's a bit more enticing to click. So one thing that seems pretty essential with these sort of templates, and you'll see it on most people's work, is when you hover over the button for this to be some kind of transition. So let's add that now as well before we finish this section off. So we'll say content button. Hover, the hover pseudo class, and we'll just change the background color and go back to our color picker. Let's just go for something a bit darker and grab that. And now when you hover over the button, you should see that the background color changes quite nicely, and we can add a transition to that as well if we want to make it more smoother. So on the parent element of button, not the hover pseudo class, if we say transition all 0.3 seconds and ease, when you hover over it now, you can see it fades in nicely and fades out nicely. So that's kind of optional, up to you whether you prefer that sort of style or not, but at least you know how to do that should you need to have a hover effect on any of your elements. Okay, so you remember at the start of the tutorial we actually created a container element inside our hero section, and we haven't actually used that at the moment, and you'll see if we expand and contract the page, the sugar and spice logo and the navigation elements on the right hand side, they actually stay static, but we want to contain those so that if this was a full page, they wouldn't be tucked away right in the corner. Especially if you have a large page, you might end up with a lot of empty space on that top navbar. So let's just add some CSS rules in for the container, and it's nothing too complicated. We'll literally say container, and we'll just give it a maximum width. So this is how big it's allowed to stretch up to. And you'd probably want something a little bit larger than 600 pixels, you might around 960 or 1280 perhaps. But because I'm working here on Codepen, I've got less space. So just to demonstrate how this works, and set a margin of 0 and auto. And when you do that, when you set a margin of 0 on the top and bottom, but auto on the left and right, it just basically centers that div element. So you'll see no matter how much we expand or contract the page, the content that's inside of the container, which is pretty much everything on the page, just stays nice and centered for us. And in fact, we'll probably get away with a bit of a bigger container there in Codepen, so that's probably a bit nicer. And expanding out to the edge of the page, you can see that we've got a bit of space in between the navbar elements, but it always stays nicely centered. Okay, so there's just one task left to do on the project, and this is a little trick which is useful if you don't have control over your source images. So you can see here where we've got "We make good food," because the salt, or whatever this is on the spoon here, is quite light. The text is kind of getting a bit lost in it. We could ideally do with this the background image being a bit darker so that the strapline text stands out a bit more. So if we could load up the image in Photoshop or another image editing program, we could actually just put a filter on that or an overlay to make it darker by reducing the brightness of the overall image. And there are filter effects that are available in CSS, but the problem we've got is if we were to put a filter onto the hero section directly, what it will actually do is reduce the brightness of the whole page, so anything inside it, including the strapline text and the button, etc., that will all get reduced in brightness as well. So we don't want that, we only want to affect the background image. So this is a little bit of a hack, but it's something that works quite well. And if we just go back up to our hero image, which we imported up here, I'm just going to open this up a little bit so you can see what's happening. So with background images, you can actually set multiple images on top of each other. And of course, if they've got any opacity within the images, they'll all kind of merge together and you can see multiple images through each other. So we could load in an image that's kind of darker over the top of this one to make the background image darker. But the trick is to use a linear gradient. So if I just type in linear gradient, and basically this will be treated as an image inside of the background image property. And a linear gradient, it's kind of like a function and it takes two values. So if we were to say red and green, you can see that in our actual page now we've got that gradient appearing, but obviously we've lost our background image and it looks terrible, so we don't want to keep that. But what we could do is pass in to RGBA values, which will have an alpha channel in there adding some opacity. So if I was to say RGBA and 000 is black, and let's just say 0.2, and let's just do that again, RGBA and just said 0.8. You can see we're adding a linear gradient with basically two black colors with an opacity channel, and it's actually darkening the image. And it's quite subtle at the moment, so what we'll actually do is just change this to 0.8 here, and you can see the whole page goes a bit darker. But the benefit of this is as well, if you want one part of the page to be lighter than the other, you can do that. So the first value is basically here going to be the top of the page. So if we wanted it to get lighter at the bottom, we could put 0.1 at the bottom there. And you can see now we've got a dark top bit here where we can actually see the strapline text quite nicely, but it gets lighter towards the bottom of the page, which is actually quite a nice effect. So here's the completed project. Obviously there's things you can do like playing around with the size of the container. We can change the colours on this button and the font and so forth, but this is pretty much set up for you to start working on the next section, but I think this is a good starting template. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful to build this template and see how it was put together. As I say, there is links for the completed project in the description below, so do go and check that out if you want to experiment with some of the settings. Just before you go, don't forget to subscribe to support the channel and for any future video updates, and I'll see you next time.